So here I am at New Lanark's World Heritage Site, the gateway to the Falls of Clyde Wildlife Reserve. I can already hear chiff chaffs and there's a woodpecker drumming, so I'm excited to go our little walk and see what we can find. We're not onto the pathway yet and I can already spot signs of badgers. Look at all these snuffle holes foraging. Well, we're definitely on the right track to the reserve. People have been visiting here for centuries to see the beauty of the Falls of Clyde and the waterfalls here, but it's only in the past 30 years or so that we've been really taking people up to see the badgers. Do you know, they say you're never too far from badgers when you're at Falls of Clyde, and already there's more foraging signs here. Look at these snuffle holes, maybe looking for some worms. Falls of Clyde's part of the Clyde Valley Woodlands National Nature Reserve. It's also been awarded a SSSI. I think it's because of these strips of ancient woodland that border the Clyde. And it's only here that you'll find certain rare fauna and flora. Whoa, you can really hear the water here. The River Clyde's the third largest in Scotland after the Tay and the Tweed. It's amazing to stand here and look over at New Lanark World Heritage Site. So this is Dundalk Linn here. It's only 3 metres tall, but it's very pretty. So let's take a wee look at this map. There's several well-used setts on this side of the river. I'll be taking you to a secret location though, just for the protection of the badgers. Right, just walking along here and spotted out the corner of my eye what looks like snuffle holes, but on closer inspection, take a wee walk over, loads of flies and pits with poo in them. This is classic badger. Badgers dig dung pits, and when you get a collection like this, it's called latrines. Some are sloppy, some are a little bit more well formed. It depends what they've been eating, whether it's sludgy with lots of worms or if they've had some cereals or fruits. But we can't go past without giving it a wee sniff test. So get a stick, poke around, give it a wee smell. Now you're smelling out for a TCP chemically type of smell. You'll need to do that at home, scratch and sniff. So you quite often find the latrines near fence lines or linear features or where two badger paths cross, and often where badger territories meet. Look at this perfect badger habitat. You can see where the badgers have actually been going in here under the fence to get access to those lovely fields. I always like to look for some footprints and some hair just to double check, maybe feel under the fence to see if it's been well worn. Not finding much here actually, but I'm pretty sure with a latrine being so close that it's badger. Continuing on our path, you quite often see holes at the side and you have to try and sort of work a wee bee there. You have to try and work out what's happening. So who did it? Who's been here? Now it doesn't go very deep, that hole. And you can see that it's maybe big enough for a badger, but yeah, it's not a full set entrance. And look up here, there's been a little bit of squirrel activity, reckon that bird box there, and then you've got some feeding signs as well, squirrels. Look at that, all the pine cones have been nibbled right down. It's not always badgers, you've got to keep your eye open for other things. So walking along here, look at that well-formed path there. Badgers are real creatures of habit, so they're going to follow the same routes night after night for generations. Look at where all the vegetation's been worn, right under that fence. And if I was to go up and have a look at that log up there, I bet you it would be all smooth, maybe with some hairs on it. Wait, what's this we've got? So something's been climbing up here quite regularly. I'll take a wee look inside. Yes, definitely something been going in this hole. Quite small, right enough. Ah, right, okay, so we've got a little rabbit poo. I think this is more rabbit than badger. So I've spotted this just off the path and it doesn't look like anything, really. But if I go and have a wee look up close, it's just this mound of grass. Now, if you haven't seen a badger nest before, this is it. And it's just amazing. Look at the size of it. It's covered in moss, grass, leaves. Check to see it's badger. You're looking for those badger hairs. Classic guard hair there. Very well used. I could just imagine the adult and maybe a wee cub just having a wee sleep in their badger nest. So it's not always underground living. It can be in a nest as well. Imagine in the underground tunnels as well, and the chambers that comes to the end. I bet it would be all snuggly and soft like that inside its bedding chamber. So let's go back up here, following the path up here, see if there's any more signs of badger. And there's certainly an entrance at the top of this path. So let's take a wee look in here. Yep, a nice big spoil heap and an entrance there. Lovely. So let's keep following. Right, we've got another big path up here. And I always like to look and see what else is around. Some bluebells. Lovely. And the smell is amazing. There's going to be a little carpet of them about here soon. And can you hear in the background all those sheep? Right, back to our badger path and some primroses. The Scotch primrose are one of my absolute favourites as well. So good for pollinators. Back to badgers. Let's stick to badgers. Right, so let's follow this path a wee bit, see where it takes us. We're coming quite close to the set now, and I'm getting a bit puffed out, but we must try and be as quiet as possible. More snuffle holes. You can imagine a snout going right in there. And that's us. We've come to our secret location. Now, it's not luxury, I know, but we do have our benches here, and that is what we've found works perfectly for the past 10 years. It also means that you're not cutting off your other senses. You can see all around you, you can hear all around you, you can smell and take in the sights and sounds. So this is where we would be sitting if we were watching a badger watch. But what's interesting tonight is I am able to take you down there and have a bit of a close-up, behind the scenes, if you like, view, which is not normally what you would do in a badger watch. I can't take a big group of people down there. It's always good to look up sometimes. Right, so here we are. We're following down. I just want to show you what the set is like itself. There's the seats. So you get different types of set, and this is the main set. Generally tends to be at the centre of their territory, but it doesn't always have to be. And a main set like this is used all year round. But you do get different types of set, outliers that maybe young males or young females will go and use, or bolt holes and all these things. This is a fairly large set as well. On the last count, we counted something like 46 different holes. But, you know, that was a year or so ago, so things have changed. Now look in here, you've got that, you can actually see some flies going in and out there, which is a sure sign that there's something down there. Maybe right now there's a badger under our feet having a nap. So you've got that classic shape where there's a bit of a flattened area and then the round bit, almost like a capital D on its back. And there's lots and lots of entrances now. This, you can see where they're going in and out. And it actually doesn't mean anything about the set at all, how many entrances there are. I've seen sets with 2 or 3 entrances and have 9 badgers in it. I've also seen massive, huge, what to me looks like a huge set and only have 1 wee family in it. Look at this trench being dug out by the badger. Right through the spoil heap. And have we got some? Yep, we've got some paw prints. So the footprint of a badger is really easily recognisable. There's 5 little bean-shaped toes, a kidney-shaped back pad there, and I'm actually wondering if that's a fox print right next to it with 4 toes there. I think it has been. So foxes might be coming up and having a little sniff around as well. They might even be living in here. Definitely need some trail cameras up here. Look, there's a wee poo pit there. And have you noticed how many big rocks and things have been moved about? Badgers are pretty strong, so it's easy for them to move big, huge rocks like this when they're excavating their sets. There can be 5 tons of earth in one of those mounds as well. It's amazing. What else have we got here? Right. So, a latrine spot, lots of dung pits, nice and fresh. And look at the size of that. You can see my foot in shot there. This is a telltale sign that there could be cubs down below, because the females will not want to go too far. They'll come out, they'll do their business, and they'll not go too far away. So hopefully we will have little cubs under here. Nobody's seen any yet. There's not been any confirmation. So all's looking good, right enough. We'll just be building up our knowledge really over the next few months, putting out our trail cameras, and of course our badger watches will be able to help us too. Now I popped up here to show you some more foraging grounds, and where you're going to find moles, you're probably going to find badgers because they're after the same food. Worms, of course. Look how perfect it is for badgers round about here. You've got all that woodland habitat for them to have their sets in, and the kind of arable land or meadow land for them to forage. I think Falls of Clyde's so good for badgers because of all these hills that we have. Makes it really easy digging. Whoa, can you see it? Roe deer running across there. Woohoo! It's not just badgers. Anyway, back to the slopes. Badgers can use them to their advantage. It's easily drained. They can use gravity to help too with their excavations. Okay, so it's not strictly badgers, but you can't come to Falls of Clyde and not take a wee look at Coralin. This is our biggest waterfall on the reserve, and in full spate it's the fastest flowing in Western Europe, would you believe? It's not got an awful lot of water coming over it just now, but you can see that real cascade effect, if you like, where hundreds of years of water gradually erodes the stone and got this natural amphitheatre. It's absolutely stunning, and every time I come it's different. Okay, the power of magic, I've stuck this in here for you to see it in full spate in winter. Isn't it superb? It's neither wonder we have a hydroelectric power station on the reserve, harnessing the power of nature. So that's us, meandering back now after searching for badgers on the reserve. If we were all out coming back from a badger watch, I'd be getting us to look for some bats over this water. The Bentons like to hunt here. It's great for midges. But back to the main attraction, and I just popped this in here just to show But sometimes, just by accident, you can spot a badger. And when I was picking up the trail cam, I spotted this little guy, totally unaware I was there, running past me at 4:30 in the afternoon.